Esteemed guests, distinguished members of the sector, esteemed guest Mr. Vint Cerf, distinguished members of the press, I would like to extend my respectful greetings. I will be touching upon three main points in my speech, first of which is as follows. In internet and data volume, what is the current situation in Turkey and the world? I will be analyzing this. Last year in Turkey, the turnover of ICT sector was $44 million, including the communication and content and all the services of vendors and satellites. This adds up to $44 billion. We have 19 million households approximately in Turkey, and 49% of those households have access to internet. We have a significant increase in the bandwidth, and in the last recent years, that is thanks to the technologies in mobile sector, the dangles, the tablets, the mobile phones. So actually these figures rose up to the numbers that we never guessed. The number of the wideband users around 34 million connect cards, and we have some other sub areas, like some people have prepaid lines. But now it is easy to say that the user of wideband user is more than 34 million, and the internet user is around 55 and 56 million users. Turkey is a country that actively uses the social networking tools. Turkey, after Brazil has a 75% of rate, and Turkey has 69. So Turkey is using these networking sites in 69%. We have around 30 million Facebook users and 13 million Twitter users. And the approximate internet usage in Turkey is more than the approximate usage in Europe and the world. So per user, the hours 32 hours. I believe this number of hours will increase in the upcoming times. With the internet utilization, the capacity of the internet itself increased as well. In the last 6 years, the internet capacity of Turkey, the abroad one, increased 63 times. And in line with that, the investments in fiber technologies doubled in these times, and the fiber lines amounts to 230,000 kilometers. E-commerce is another aspect, is another field of interest, and it is around $16 billion. Last year, the ICT increased 18%, and this year it will be around 13 to 14%. Some sub-areas like call centers, wideband, and e-commerce, the increase of those fields are much more than that. For example, e-commerce grew 34 to 35% last year. The usage of mobile internet is increasing very fast in Turkey. That's natural, because now everybody is using smartphones rather than older ones, and the change rate is so high each 46 of 100 phones were smartphones which entered into Turkey. And now this year, this around is 56%, and it may go up to 57 or 58 at the end of the year. Another interesting aspect is the internet advertising sector, and it has an expansion rate of 16%, and at the turnover, or let's say the value of last year, this sector was $600 million, and we are estimating that it will become $1.3 billion in 3 years' time in 2016. So each value is increasing around 30%, and if it continues like that, it will reach $4 billion in 2016. I would like to highlight your attention to data traffic. The data traffic in Turkey increased 15 times last year. These are statistical data. These are not my estimations. When I talk, I use facts and figures, not estimations. You know, as the Information and Communication Technologies Authority, we are publishing market analysis in 3 months. So we share our facts and figures with the sectors, and these are the statistical data that we publish. We don't base our analysis on estimations, but we base them on the data that we take from the sector. It is normal that the data traffic increased 15 times in 4 years because it is going on very fast, and it highlights the need of an infrastructure. So the mobile base stations require an investment to fill in the gap. And apart from that, we require fiber infrastructure. It should be carried out very rapidly. Our situation is a bit better in fiber, but in mobile base stations, the problem is increasingly going on. There are some changes in the global structure in the sector. The mobile communication is increasing, and Turkey is on the first line in voice in Europe. So per user, it was around 288 minutes, but the second quarter's monthly talking minutes is 223 minutes. We have our closest country was France, but now there is a gap. They are around 260. So this increase in voice communication is continuing, but there's an also interesting fact. This increase is going on in voice talks, but among the income of the voice communication is decreasing in companies. So this voice turnovers decreased from 75% to 65%. This is a significant fall, and data and service income increased from 14% to 21%. That is very interesting. Another very interesting fact is in Japan, the Kamo income, the data income is more than the voice communication. That is very interesting. We are going on through such a change in our own services as well in terms of data and service. The trend is much dynamic over there. but the share of the voice communication is decreasing among the total. What is the meaning? Why did I tell all these? We should focus more on data. The data traffic is rapidly increasing, be it fixed lines or mobile lines. We have to have a plan for the infrastructure. We, in our establishments, we are proud of our fixed lines and mobile lines. That's right. We are using the highest technology in 3G. Our minister have explained that we will give the authorization for 4G in soon time. There's one reason for the delay. There are activities to produce the infrastructure for 4G in Turkey. So hopefully 4G will be licensed in Turkey in soon time. But the most important thing, the transmission systems and the base stations and the fiber among them should go to adequate levels. Otherwise, you can just give some licenses, but it is important to use them effectively. We are glad that we don't have serious blockages in our systems, but as the increase of trend in data goes on as rapidly as this, we may have some blockages. Our minister has the following vision. Future will come with technology. The second topic I would like to tackle today is about the changes and arrangements we have done on internet usage. We want this to be provided incentive for. Some people talk a lot, some people produce. 2 weeks ago, on a Saturday, a ceremony was held in Turkey. There are 33,000 different communities in Turkey. Some of them are districts, some of them are villages. And in approximately 1,800 of them, there were no data of internet at all. There were no mobile coverage at all. I'm talking about 2G and 3G. All of them are like villages consisting of 20 to 30 people. But our minister, with the vision he set, he will provide 2G and 3G and mobile communication. We have had our talks with different companies. We started with 2,000 inhabitants, and then we went down to 500 inhabitants. So this service is provided, but then when the number of less than 500 inhabitants is not feasible, and the minister has taken a decision, and there is a cabinet legislation for that. I will cover the gap of financing from the Universal Service Fund, and a tender is carried out, and one of the 3 GSM operators received the tender, was awarded with the tender, and its financing would be covered with the Universal Service Fund. This is not theory. This project has started, and that ceremony I was talking about was about the facilities and opening of a facility. And the important thing is, this equipment actually is of the property of the ministry, because the ministry is paying, and 3 GSM operators will benefit from that. I mean, it is not like one GSM operator will use it and the others won't. That is how it is designed. It is based on a model which is called active sharing. And right now the system has started working, and hopefully towards the end of this next year, this project will come to an end in a step-by-step approach. What will that mean? Even in the furthest part of Turkey, we will have mobile communication and wideband connection. This may sound very radical, but in no countries in the world they have this. Because there are just very small places where there is no mobile communication. When the inhabitants are less than some number, it is not feasible for establishments. These establishments cannot cannot even cover the establishment costs or operation costs. So the Ministry of Health has done the investment and also covers the cost of establishment and operation. So we are actually talking about very small places of inhabitation. The structure is very different over there. And there is one more thing. 3,000 public internet access is established from the Universal Service Fund, and 21,000 schools have computer halls. This Universal Service Fund is a very important fund which is financed by establishments. So I mean, the half of the content is from the institutions and half of them is from the establishments. It is a fund that is around $300 million. And there's one more project, which is Fatih project, which is covered by the same fund. Fatih project is a very unique education program. I would like to just give some figures about the Fatih project. In 4 years, 4,000 schools were provided. I mean schools of primary, secondary, and high schools. And 570,000 classes would be provided with smart boards and internet connection. And we will provide tablet pieces to the students. And this has started, in different steps. The first tender is completed. Tablets are provided on a level. And some of the smart boards are installed. And most importantly, the training of the teachers have started, because teachers will not be using chalkboards anymore. And that process is continuing. So the TOT is ongoing. As you know, this year, an arrangement is made. The tax which is taken from internet is decreased to 5%. We think that is very important. And we will provide deductions for the peoples with disability, for the families of martyrs, and for disadvantaged, providing incentive for in fiber establishment. The institution said the following: if an establishment sets a fiber line, they will not be regulated for 5 years. I talked about how many kilometers that this country has. This is actually supported by this arrangement. This is providing a facilitation in planes, I mean big aircrafts, and in fast trains. The wideband internet communication is provided without any stops. In fast train routes, different systems are provided. It was not enough because the kilometer per hour is more than 250. A separate device is put into each different wagons so that uninterrupted communication can go on. In Ankara, Konya, and Ankara-Eskişehir routes, the system is completed and it will be complete in short time in Istanbul, right, Mr. Önder? Yes, so in the first quarter of the next year, when the rapid train among Istanbul and Ankara is operational, our travelers, passengers will enjoy uninterrupted wideband internet access. And transformation activities on IVP is mostly completed, and especially the child abuse, drugs, and gambling kind of criminal activities are regulated with the legislation No 5169. We will be adding new articles to that in a new package law. That is our aim. We especially want children and youth to be protected from child abuse, gambling, and porn. We are very sensitive about that. Mr. Serhat is the head of the Internet Development Board. Turkey is also a member of INHOC and INSAVE now. The safe internet issue in Turkey is very important, and cyber safety, these are very intertwined. In December, we have established a cyber safety board. Before and after the establishment of this board, some activities were carried out in cyber safety. In January 2011 and 12, and we have had some drills as well in that sense. And in February, in ITU, we will have the International Cyber Safety Drill. We have had our communications with them. We will have a drill with high participation. And apart from that, our cyber safety action plan is operational. I have to add that as well. And we will have teams for intervening the cyber activities. And lastly, as a third point, I would like to highlight the following information. We have some expectations from international institutions and Google. This is an activity of Google. After having said all this, I would like to highlight what we expect from international institutions and Google. Let me put it forward. Turkey is very decisive and very enthusiastic. You know, the area management area, which is based in Los Angeles. The headquarters are in Los Angeles. I can, in parallel to the developments in internet, I will set sail to the world, go beyond USA. I will establish 2 more headquarters. And as a result of the previous talks, in addition to Los Angeles, one of the headquarters is established in Istanbul. I'm not talking about Turkers, not about future. It is already established. It is operational since 2 months. A lansing meeting was held, and I visited Mr. David Olive, the head of that headquarters. They are employing people rapidly. I highly encourage our youth to be employed there. And SAP is opening up an R&D and innovation center. It's already ready, But we're expecting the Technopark in Istanbul to be operational. It is next to the Sabiha Gökçen airport. I guess our minister will announce that a very important event will be held in Turkey. I'm not going to say this and give spoilers. We'll hear that tomorrow. There are a lot of improvements to be made. Turkey is very decisive. There is no doubt about that. We want Turkey, like ICANN's decision, we want data centers from Google. We want to be IXP, Internet Exchange Point. As I have mentioned, we will have further improvements in the legislation which will provide incentive for different establishments to come to Turkey. We have talked with Google, Microsoft, we are having our talks with YouTube. We are hearing about what you want from us, and we are making our legislations and changes according to that. We would like to provide more hosting services in Turkey. I'm directing my speech to you, especially, because other ones are just listeners. And, YouTube uses a Turkish interface. These localization steps are very important. Thank you very much. Apart from that, we want youtube.com.tr to be operational. I think we have the right, because youtube.com something is already present in lots of countries. Turkey is not a small country. We are always proud of our country because this is a country of 77 million population, and social networking is very high when you per capita. We are using internet intensively. We have a very young population. We are very dynamic in our mind, in our and in testing. We are the ideal country. These are the things that I observe. Do you know that many Turkish research and development experts are working in Asia? Because Turkish R&D experts are getting less salary than the experts in Asia. This is a change. So we want Google in a bigger size in Turkey. Thank you very much.